But did you know also that you share a birthday with Jeffrey Dahmer?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's because I have an insatiable hunger. Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Jonny, everybody.
I'm Jackie Agnew.
And I'm Johnny DeVito. We have a very special episode for you this week. Not in content, just because I'm selfish and it's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Aw, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, we treat this like a job, so wouldn't it be nice to take the day off, you know? But nope. We're very serious about this. We don't take ourselves very seriously, but I wanted to bring you a record. I wanted to do something that diving into the album that I was going to pick, it seemed like it was just going to take a lot more work.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's going to be a bit heavier.
Definitely.
A bit more complex.
Stay tuned. I mean, for a
we'll
later
do it
episode.
in a few weeks, I'm sure.
But the sun is shining. I'm having fun. And I just wanted to bring you a record that I love.
Yeah.
So today, we are talking about the first album from one of the greatest bands in Canada. Well, I'm not even going to say punk band. One of the greatest bands in Canada. In my opinion, for my money, this is the Flatliners' first album, Destroy to Create. Ladies and gentlemen. This album came out in 2005, around a very strange time in my life. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later if we get into it. Who knows? It's just the fastest, funnest album I think that you can have, right? So the sun is shining. We're going to do another ska record, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So buckle up.
Get into it.
Yeah. How did you get into it? I mean, I played this band for you quite a bit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm familiar with the band, and I'm sure that you've probably played songs from this album for me quite a bit. And like I've listened to later records of theirs, which is quite different.
Yes, very. You could see some serious growth.
Yeah,
in this band.
But yeah, this is the first time I've listened to this album all the way through, and I really liked it. Like I said, it's so fast, and I really had to like really concentrate the first listen to just like read along to the lyrics, but it was like speed reading because he goes through them so fast.
Well, it was funny when you'd mentioned that you know, when we're diving into records or whatever, you know, you should definitely get a taste for what's in the lyric sheet and a whole feel for the album. And I had to giggle a little bit to myself when you're like, I just can't follow these. Like, it's so fast.
It's so fast. You can't look away from the page. If you do, then you miss like a whole verse.
I recommend just listening to it for like maybe 10 years, going to a couple shows and stuff like that. You know, you kind of get a little bit of I mean, I don't know, right? I really have like this bank of knowledge for lyrics in my head for whatever reason, but when it comes to like this style of music, I don't even turn it off. Like I agree with all the sentiments. You know what I mean? Everything that is in there. You know, is kind of follows my belief structure and everything. So I'm cool, and you could just like press play and let this one take you for a ride. Yeah,
I mean, it's not one that you can really sing along to the whole time.
You
can't.
I mean,
like, I certainly cannot.
I have, and I still do. I actually did all day today. It really got me through the work day today, let me tell you.
But yeah, no, I loved it. I was dancing around to it all day today. It was
There's
fun.
something about ska and the sun shining.
Yeah.
You know, that really just like invokes happiness. If you're the kind of person that can't hear some delightful ska, mind you, this is very fast and very, you know, very heavier on the heavier side of that.
Yeah.
But for me, there's like Operation Ivy, the Suicide Machines, and like the Flatliners.
Yeah.
Really like, there's a million other bands that fall into that category, but for like, there's 3 ska albums on a desert island that I would take, and this one is one of them, which is, I mean, which I think says a lot about some 16-year-old kids in Ontario, you know, that made this record in 2005, which is pretty cool that it still holds up today. Yeah.
I will say, if you're not someone who listens to ska, like I really liked this record, but I don't know if I would have if like this was like 3 years ago. And
if we didn't do this show and we didn't have our friendship and like all
exactly.
this
If
stuff.
I hadn't like heard your music for the last however many years, it would have been a bit of a different experience. But it's a great record. I liked it. There were a couple songs made their way onto playlists.
Yes. You know what's cool is like the band has grown so much over time, and like I mean we spoke on a different episode about they have an album called Division of Spoils, which is like B-sides and unreleased stuff and a lot of covers.
Yeah.
And so they have like Johnny Cash cover and a Tragically Hip cover, and when you're listening to that kind of stuff, it was funny because you were familiar with it. Yeah. So when I kind of threw an Audible like 2 days ago and went, fuck, like let's do
last night.
Was it last night?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Sorry. I rage drank 15 beers last night and I kind of forgot where my head was at. But yeah, I really wanted something that was like, you know, obviously not so in depth. I mean, the album that we were going to look at is Deltron 3030. So for anybody that's, I mean, definitely keep an eye out for that episode that's coming up.
We
but
will be doing it.
But it's one that I didn't do the homework enough, so that when it kind of came time to talk about that album, there was a lot that's going to go into it that I feel like, you know, I should definitely brush up on. Yeah. So when I was thinking about what can I do, and I'm like the day before, something that I love, something that, you know what I mean, I could talk in depth about with very little research. Yeah. It's this album, this band specifically, but this album is something that when it came out in 2005, I was 15 years old and wasn't listening to punk rock. I've kind of found a different group of friends, and you know, I was dating a girl at the time, and we weren't. Nobody was really listening to like punk rock or whatever, right? Yeah. So like the silly hair or whatever that I had, like a year, you know, it was just a year had passed and everything had kind of changed in my friend group. And I was starting to listen to different music, right? And I didn't find this album until I left town and I went to college, and I was kind of, I knew something was missing, especially musically in my life. And I knew that like, go back to your roots, like listen to punk rock. But there was something in the back of my head going like, shit, like I'm not just going to go back and listen to the same albums that I grew up on, right? I'm definitely going to, like NoFX, Bad Religion, Pennywise, you know what I mean? Like your big, you know, your big 3, Big 5 or whatever, right? And then all the subsequent bands that that kind of go with them was great, but I knew that I needed something new. Yeah. Or I just wanted something to kind of spark the something for me to go really dive deep back into something that, you know, I mean, I grew up loving as a child, right? Probably took 3 years off. It was in a really weird place. And then for whatever reason, when I found Fred's Got Slacks, I believe it's the first or second song, on this album. Yeah. And if you go to Spotify, it's their number one played song on Spotify. Yeah, because it's the shit. Yeah. It's so much fun. It's so fast. And then you kind of track the progression of this band. The Great Awake is the next album, and I would be just as comfortable doing an episode on that with zero research as well. It's so goddamn good. And then even growing a little bit more, going into Cavalcade, going, you know, as they've progressed even to where they're at now is such it's such a night and day kind of thing. Yeah. This album was released on Stomp Records in 2005, re-released on Fat Records. So if you're a punk band, getting on like Epitaph or like a Fat Records or something like that is going to open you up to a huge like built-in audience, basically. Yeah. Right? Because NoFX is going to tour with the new bands that are on their label and stuff like that. So it's unbelievable the opportunity that they had and what they did. Because now, I mean, for kids to come in at that age, probably they were one of the first bands too that I saw that these were guys that were my age that were fucking destroying it on the highest level. Right. And, you know, to watch them grow as a band to their latest album, they've left Fat Records and they're, you know, like actually growing and doing their own thing, right? Which is pretty amazing. I think
completely different genre of music.
From breakneck, fast-paced punk, ska punk or whatever to where they're at now. Is pretty incredible. Yeah. And I'm not going to be a dick because I'm 31 now. I'm not going to sit there going like, fuck, I wish. Yeah. There was when Donald Trump when everybody was remaking the Make America Great Again hats. Yeah. There were so many stupid things that came out, but somebody made a hat that said "Make the Flatliners ska again," and I support that a little bit. Yeah, but it's funny to listen to the band talk about it because like if they were musically going for a sound, and like, you know, like some little ska riff kind of lent itself to that song, and they would do it. But they're so, you know, kind of past that. So you kind of have to go, and what you have now is just like a time capsule. Yeah. You know what I mean? Something really cool that you're probably not going to get again, but it was like the impetus to what is like a decade now of Flatliners music and countless shows that I've been to and just like cool interactions, friends I've made, and very, very important band to me.
Yeah.
And I think in the canon of Canadian punk rock, and like this genre of punk rock in general.
Yeah, and Canadian music in general. We love some CanCon.
We love some
Canadian content.
Oh, CanCon. We love CanCon. I don't know if you know that this is also CanCon.
Yeah, this right here. We're making CanCon.
Do you think this is gonna hold up like the Flatliners album?
I think so.
Fuck yeah,
How
it
could
will.
it not?
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So I mean, I don't know. We can wax poetic and I could go on or whatever, but I think let's chop it up a little bit here. Do you have any ideas to kind of break up this episode, and then I will put the Flatliners back into it as we proceed.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, we can sort of play it fast and loose here.
It's my birthday, Jackie. My brother's coming over in an hour. We're gonna have some fun.
But yeah, speaking of it being your birthday, I have some. First of all, happy birthday again! I'm so excited that we get to do this on your birthday.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
I honestly don't want to be anywhere else in the world right now.
Me neither.
I don't really care.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you were born and that we met. Yeah. And I'm grateful every day for your friendship.
That's the good stuff right there. Thanks, Jackie.
And so on this day, Let's dive into history a bit.
I don't know anything about May 21st except for the Notorious B.I.G. was also born.
Yeah, I figured you'd know that.
Yeah,
one.
That's the only one. Mr. T as well.
You know what's funny is that I share a birthday with Dr. Dre.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is this rap beef now?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
East versus West.
Maybe. Who knows? Dre really made his way out of that whole beef. I think.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest things when I was listening to a Tupac record when I was a kid, years after the deaths and everything like that, I don't know what's going on, but I think, is it Staring at the World Through My Rear View or To Live and Die in LA, I think is a Tupac song where it's California. At the very end, you hear Tupac just like under his breath, like California Love Part 2 without gay ass Dre. And you're like, whoa, what happened here? Yeah, I didn't have the internet to know, but I was like, oh, something happened between these two releases.
Yeah.
Where
But did you know also that you share a birthday with Jeffrey Dahmer?
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen. It's because I have an insatiable hunger, right? Like, and I've always thought that.
You've always related.
I've always related. Yeah, you can't really see me out and about if I'm not like snacking on, kind of salty pork products. Anything that I could assume would be relatable to human meats.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, Mr. T.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And also Al Franken.
Who's Al Franken?
He wrote for SNL and he later became a politician.
Oh, shout out to Al Franken.
Comedian turned politician.
Do we like him?
Yeah.
At the beginning, usually when anybody turns politician, kind of like an asshole.
He got sort of caught up in the Me Too movement, but his whole thing was like, but no, it wasn't. I mean, my opinion was that it wasn't. It was literally a photo of him with like a girl he was sitting on a couch. It was like clearly like a writer's room type situation, and the girl was like sleeping beside him, and he was like pretending to like grab her boob or something like that. And that photo came out right when
no contact. You 2 inches off a titty.
I don't remember the photo that clearly, but I remember everyone being like, "What?" I remember some people being like, "Cancel Al Franken," because he was like, he's in politics. And I think he actually stepped down.
If you're a jerk, but
seat.
If you're a former comedian, can you stay 2 inches hovering over a titty and it still be funny?
At the time, he was working in comedy. He wasn't in politics, and he didn't do anything, but he sort of got caught up. And it was at the time when it was sort of like an Aziz Ansari type situation, where it's like everyone was canceling everyone. Every time a name got brought up, it was automatically. When now looking back, it's like, what? They didn't do anything.
Poor Aziz, like you get consensual. You get like a consensual. Yes for like some hair pulling and a little fish hooking. Like, who doesn't like to get fish hooked?
It was like Aziz. I mean, we don't have to go deep into this, but
no,
Aziz
we're not going
was like kind of creepy on a date, and then once he sensed his date was uncomfortable, he called her an Uber.
I thought he was pulling hair and fish hooking.
No, it was like
well, then what the fuck?
I don't know about. I know he definitely. I don't remember the details. I'm
not
going to go into
any
it.
of this stuff.
But I know.
Move on.
Yeah.
Google it.
Anyways.
Punch it in your Googler, people.
But also, on this day in 1932, Amelia Earhart became the first woman to fly nonstop alone across the Atlantic. Now,
allegedly, a man like... I'm just kidding.
Do you know any of these theories that Amelia Earhart didn't actually die and that she carried on living in remote islands?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked because you know that I'm fascinated by people faking their deaths.
Yes.
And for Amelia Earhart, I've always looked in a Tupac sense, because Amelia Earhart was, from what I understand, a young lady, but a very gifted pilot, and became kind of famous in her own right.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So when you are just trying to be the best at what you do, and then fame kind of clouds that, some people if you want to be famous and live like that, you got to be a fucking nutball. Right? There can't be anything good. Up to a certain level of recognizability, I'm sure would be fantastic. We would love free drinks at local establishments if that's on the table.
Absolutely.
But the idea of Beatles level fame, right? Where Tupac can't go to a to a fucking wherever, right?
Yeah.
And so imagine in the 30s, fame wasn't a thing like it was in the 90s or even like it is now.
Oh my god.
Any asshole with
no,
a YouTube show could be famous now.
In the 30s, they couldn't follow them around flashing their cameras. They would have had to fucking set up and be like, okay, can you stay still for a few seconds?
Totally, right? Yeah. And to stay still for a few seconds, some people can do that, but Amelia Earhart cannot stay still. She's probably flying at, in excess of 50 knots, 60 knots. I don't know how fast planes go.
I don't know. Do planes go in knots?
Yes, nautical and air travel are both measured in knots for whatever reason.
Okay.
I think that there could be like a translation or whatever, but when you're watching UFO videos, they're always saying so and so traveling at so and so knots. So I'm assuming that that's the case. But so Amelia Earhart crashes in what I believe to be the Bermuda Triangle.
I really don't know the specifics of her disappearance.
Well, from what I understand,
all I know is that she disappeared.
Yeah, from what I understand, people have found remains of the plane,
but not of her.
And not of her.
Never.
There is also a horrific story of where the remains of the plane were found. A nearby island also has one particular kind of crab on it that apparently eats flesh.
Oh.
So there is also a theory that she washed up onto shore and potentially had a very gruesome death, unless she had a pot and a pan, you know what I mean, some butter. You know what I mean? If she's living off of these crabs, then maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe she's just hanging out doing kind of crab boils and fish bakes every day and stuff like that. And if that's the truth that I want, to believe.
I remember, this was years ago now, but seeing on some, I don't know where on the internet this was, but it was some photograph that was I guess became a point of speculation that was on some island, some remote island close to where she crashed, and the photo, I'm not going to remember this right, but it basically
was Fire Island. There was Ja Rule and she's hanging out.
Yeah, in the medical tent.
She's got an old ass coconut bikini on, girl.
But it was it was around the time that she disappeared, and the photo showed it was a plane in disrepair, and there was a bunch of people, and there was a woman who looked like Amelia Earhart. And this easily could have been I literally, I don't know where I saw this photo. It could have been doctored, but I remember reading
there
with
a
thing.
With a photo with
exactly.
with the capabilities to take that photograph.
Yeah, I wish
30s.
that I had I just remembered this when I was on my way here. I wish I had thought of it earlier so I could have looked it up and tried to find it again.
Yeah. Well, this is an Amelia Earhart's episode, but still fascinating shit. You know what I mean? I think it's cool. Anybody that fakes their own death successfully and gets away with it is cool. Did you hear about the guy in Florida who faked his death for 25 years and then to avoid a police investigation or something? He was thinking that he was coming under. So he pops his head up after 25 years of faking his own death, and he realized the police were never looking for this guy. And that sounds like a dumb joke, but it's like, it's true.
No one cared.
This happened in Florida. I believe the news came out maybe a month ago or something. It's fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
But the life of a person trying to find those who have faked their own deaths are fascinating. Yeah. Even more to me because they call those persons skip tracers. Oh. And so like if you're a skip tracer, then you'll like anybody that's like escaped from prisons or is evading the law by, I think, like means that are above and beyond local law enforcement's ability to search and hunt for these people. It's kind of gone out to like more private investigators, and they call themselves skip tracers, which is cool because like in the 30s you could think of like a guy looking for Amelia Earhart and his name was Skip Tracer. That's fucking rad, right? That's really cool. Yeah. And he's like, he's like looks like Dick Tracy, and he says like this, saying
Skip
like
Tracer.
Yeah, right. Skip Tracer is just fucking cool to me.
I like it.
So like I'm more fascinated by the lore around the idea of faking one's own death.
Yeah.
Like
same.
for me, like I don't know, I got too many people that love me and kind of like looking out for me and shit like that. I can't just like fake my own death and then like go to like dinner at my dad's on Sunday. And be like, fucking keep this on the low, guys.
Faking your own death is a huge commitment because you're killing yourself, but then you have to keep living. Like to everyone else, you're dead. And they have to deal with that, but you have to keep living with it and have to try and like, what the fuck is the point at that point? I wouldn't want to live that life.
Well, that's why the life of a skip tracer is so fascinating, because it's a monotonous job where you just have to keep on it every day because you're banking on the fact that humanity still exists in this person.
Yeah.
Right. So like you can be trying to evade the law, trying to evade whatever, even if it was like I believe these people have even been used by like criminal networks in some cases or whatever to find people that are running away from the mob or something like that or whatever, right? Like this when a private investigator is hired to find somebody, they're going to do it, right? So there's so many fascinating stories of people getting found, but the story of the skip tracers day-to-day hunt for this person is not very exciting, right? Like if it was a movie, it'd be a fucking bummer because like you're just sitting there, you're trying to check for you're looking for bank activity, credit cards to pop up, a phone call to your mother, you know what I mean, things like that always get somebody caught because you're banking on the fact that you're still human, and whether you're faking your own death, regardless of what the circumstances around that faking of the death, you're still going to you still want to God forbid your mother's alive or something, like what I mean, right? At some point you're still you're still a person. If you're faking your own
death, that means you want to keep living, and at a certain point if you still have loved ones, then you're going to want to check in on them.
For sure.
If you have any morality, any humanity left in you, you're gonna want to fucking check up on your loved ones.
Thus is the problem, because every time, like I've approached like all of my family and my friends and have been like, guys, we charter a boat.
Yeah.
Right? We all got debt.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean? Right? You're going to wake up and slave 40 hours of your week away for some asshole that you can barely pay, the interest on the debt, never mind the fucking principal to the thing. Like we are in this for life.
Yeah.
Unless, right? Like we all get like, we leave, we take pictures of the boat with no lifeboats on it, right? And then we put some fucking lifeboats on it right before we take off, sink that motherfucker, go to Amelia Earhart Island where there's like a bunch of crabs and shit like that we could eat, and then we're like chilling, listening to ska music every day.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Hard sell though for my entire group of friends and family.
Yeah, it'd be hard to get everyone on board, because then every person there have their own groups of friends and family. They're like, well, what about them?
Yeah, and the island just isn't
sort of gets out of control.
I don't have enough butter. The island isn't big enough, right? There's enough crab there, but like if at some point if you're just eating crab without butter, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean? Like what's even the point of living at that point? Yeah. So, it's been tough for me, but I also don't have a good enough reason to fake my own death. I'm just fascinated by it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to write a book on it. Like when I'm like, fucking 40 or something, then it's coming close, guys. Get ready for Jonny in long form. Start Just start spitting these yarns into,
Yeah.
into something that'll pay.
Yeah, well, once the money's rolling in, then we can really branch out and start.
Absolutely, yeah. I have no plans of writing anything
Yeah.
anything more than, I don't know, a script or whatever the fuck. I'm just trying to write jokes as it is. But the prospect of letting everybody know that oh shit, this is fucking another cool
Yeah.
is because like a celebration of life,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what today is. Today,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, is Johnny DeVito's celebration of life.
Yes.
You know, because like you only celebrate life after somebody fucking dies.
Yeah.
Stupid.
You should celebrate your life every day.
100%.
Every
right?
day is precious. You only have this one life to live. Life is it's a roller coaster, but it's beautiful. And you got this one life, and you should find a way to honor it every day, even if you're feeling shitty, whether it be ordering yourself a pizza, however you're going to do it. Celebrate life every day.
Fuck yeah. And actually, you know what I mean, not to stray too far off a topic here, but the pandemic's been hard for everybody, but I think what's been overlooked is like the like detriment to society that's happened through you know, drug use, mental health, like the amount of people that I know that have lost their lives to COVID is zero, and the amount of people that have lost their lives during this time due to other things.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like as a result to this.
Yeah.
To this whole lockdown and everything has been kind of detrimental. So anybody out there, talk to your friends. If you're upset, maybe fucking like reach out to us. Who yeah, like we're everybody. Life's for the living, so celebrate life. I think that's huge. But on the other side of that, it would be cool to like Huckleberry Finn your own funeral. You know what I mean? Like just to. That's a scene in The Simpsons, and I don't know if that's actually in the book. I've never read, but
I don't know. I think maybe I had to read it in elementary school, but I don't really remember the particulars except for like.
Yeah, except for one hard end.
Except for excessive use of the N-word.
Yeah. Mark Twain, we're looking at you, you comedic genius, fucking racist. But. I just like the term. If you could Huckleberry Finn your own funeral, then I would probably fake my death like, I don't know, once every couple years, and I would come back and to the point where I'd be like the boy who cried wolf about my own death.
Yeah.
So I would fake my death so many times just so I could be at the party.
Yeah.
Until like the time that I actually died, everybody's like, "Fuck, we've been to 14 funerals for Johnny right now." Like, I mean, come on.
I don't even wanna.
So like that would.
How many times can I put myself through this?
Which is pretty fucked up, yeah. Because like I mean, after like the third or fourth time, they're gonna stop crying. Like you've been over it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You've relived this.
If you've cried at my funeral 3 times. Thank you. Like shout out to you. Like I mean, call me more. Like we should hang out more if we're that close. Like, I only cry once at funerals because nobody's ever had like such an elaborate plan. Yeah. You know, to evade. I don't know, police, the law, the mob, whatever, or just even other people. Sometimes I just get too much. Right?
Oh God, yeah.
Like so sometimes I just like to turn it off, but that being said, I also like to turn it on again. So you can't really fake your death and come back.
Yeah.
Oh, unless you like.
I guess in a way, like
I'm Jesus in a way.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I was thinking about. I mean, I've always felt that way, but you know, it's not up to me to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say because there'll be days where I like just like don't feel like talking to people, and so then I just like won't reply. Obviously, like I'll reply to like you and like my family and stuff, but for the most part I'll just feel like I don't feel like I'm not answering my messages today. And in a way, doing that is like micro faking your death for a day, because you're like, I'm not reachable today, I am dead to you for this day.
I'm totally into it. I mean, a little like you're not really going through. You're not as doing much it, as but like it's Tupac the same, is but it's currently.
Like the same. Yeah, obviously Tupac is the king of it.
Imagine Tupac faking his own death before Google, and then like you're still like a little bit of narcissism in you. So like Tupac just like gets fed because he just like Googles his name every day, just to see the mentions. It's like, dude, you're Tupac. We're mentioning you a lot. But
speaking of death, though, this is kind of on topic.
Yeah, what's up?
So this day in 2019, Washington became the first state to legalize human composting as an alternative to cremation or burial. So basically, you bury the body covered in natural materials that encourage composting, and then over the course of 3 to 6 weeks, the body breaks down, and then they give the soil to the family, and the family does what they want with the soil.
I'm super into it until it gets right. Still into it, but there's something infinitely funny.
I wouldn't want the soil. To like plant your garden, like, oh wow, your tomatoes are great this season. Like, what did you do? Well, I used Greg in my soil.
Do you remember Cousin Greg? That is fucking wild. I am so for it. I think I love like the pods that you could like grow a tree or whatever. So like it's the same fucking thing, only like that's a more of a like a localized nutrient source for that one tree. Yeah. Whereas like if you just like fucking chop me up and put me in the ground, then it's like it's all good. Wait, how long to like debone decomposition go into that?
3 to 6 weeks you get the soil.
Wow.
I'm here for it because I don't want to be...
It feels mushy at that point. Like it seems like it could still be like a little chunk of cheek in there or something.
I don't know. I guess it breaks down, but you're putting
do you get
things
teeth and shit
in
in there
it that
too?
like encourage that. I don't really know.
Oh,
From what I read, it's like you're
holy
buried because you know some now is like the mushroom suit where like the mushrooms will decompose you. They bury the body in a mushroom suit, which I'm here for because like I don't want to
psilocybin mushrooms. That'd be sick.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want if it was like a loved one and like the mushrooms were grown from them. I feel like that would trip me out.
Have you ever seen the movie How High?
No.
Oh, Jackie, it's required viewing if we're going to be doing the show together. How High is a fantastic film starring Method Man and Redman. And the beginning of the film starts off with Method Man. His friend tragically passes away. And, you know, he grinds up them, you know. It's a little bit graphic or whatever, but at the, you know what I mean, what happens is he ends up growing his friend Ivory, you know what I mean, he's grown a lot of weed, but this one particular plant or whatever is, you know, is Ivory, right? Yeah. So Ivory was saying, like, man, you can't be growing all this weed and shit all the time. He's like a botanist and shit, you know, too, right? Like, you kind of really cool, you know, opening character setup or whatever for Method Man. And, you know, his friends come in there to buy weed and he's looking around his place going, man, you're too talented for this shit, man. You got to do something else, blah, 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 right? Ivory goes on to get killed. Method Man grows, you know, this weed and listens to what he says, right? So he's going to go, you know, back to college or whatever, back to school, you know, get his, like, GED, right? Where he meets Redman in the parking lot, who's also having trouble with his mom, also has to go get his GED, right? And they smoke this blunt together. You got weed? You got blunt? Man, my name's Jamal. It's fantastic. Anyway, so when they smoke it, Ivory appears as a ghost behind them and he gives them all the answers for the tests. Oh. Fucking great movie. Okay. Anybody fucking with, like, I mean, yeah, get on board. How high? Yeah. You know. And if you don't, you better know. But so if that was the case for mushrooms, that would be fucking wild, right? Like if I died and gave you like my whole like 6 feet of John body and a fucking in a tailored ass mushroom suit, 3-piece, you know, I'm assuming, right? You know what I mean? Some wingtips and shit, right? Like fly as fuck. Yeah. And I'm in there, fedora on, and you get the magic mushrooms that spawn from me. Yeah. Would be sweet, but unless what version of me you're getting. Yeah. Right? Like if you had like a lethargic, like just want to get baked me, if you got like a tripping out on mushrooms, let's go for an adventure me, or imagine like if it was just like me drunk as fuck, just like rapping at you. Like I just not with you, not anything. Like I'm in like a battle. Familiar. Yeah, right? Like battle rap mode where I just come back in time and I just spit hot fire in your face while you're tripping.
Well, I feel like at that point I would be happy with any version of you. If you would like, if you were gone, I would be fine with you rapping in my face.
That would be sick. You just get fucked up on mushrooms, and Johnny comes back and he's dead in the middle of little. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Does it always have to be pun? And I'm like, yeah, it always has to be big pun. I'm getting far off the trail of ska punk here, but I'm for it, and if I would be more inclined to do the mushrooms because then you could technically grow into like a mycelial network. Yeah. You know, that spans far and vast rather than just like a tree that's going to be like chopped down by some fucking guy that doesn't want his front yard in 10 years. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm so on board with this that I think like I'm assuming by the time in like, 10, 20 years from now, this is probably going to be something that people just, it's going to be one of the options.
Sure.
And like my whole life, I've always said cremation. I don't want to be my body to be buried. That's weird to me. I think the idea of my body being in like a box in the ground is weird. And so I've always just wanted my body to be gone once I'm dead.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And so if it's between getting cremated and or composting into the ground and helping other life, then
giving
fuck
back
yeah.
to the land that gave you, kind of like, you know what I mean? There's something there's
then
something full circle. There's something poetic about it.
Yeah, why would I
I'm
choose getting incinerated over actually, helping the earth?
If you would have asked me 5 minutes ago, I might have given you a different answer, but where I'm at now, like, yeah, fuck it. I don't want it to be my decision, right? Like, once I leave this body.
But you don't want it to be their decision either, because that's a whole thing. When people die, their loved ones have to make so many decisions. You just want to make it easy for them.
I want whatever's going to put more food on my family's table. I think at the end of the day, right? So if you want to, I will only do the compost if like a guy named Dale shows up with a shovel and like a shitty F-150 pickup and like I'm like just in a tarp kind of just like a pile of dirt, like where do you want him?
Yeah.
And he just like spreads the topsoil over it. That's fucking cool. And I will only take it.
That.
Yeah, I would only take it if that's the opportunity. And then you see like a jawbone and kind of like, oh, you love to talk.
And then instead of like getting buried next to your loved ones, you could be in like your soil could be like the same garden as them.
That is adorable and poetic. I'm into it. I'm super into it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Washington did that?
Washington.
In 2019.
2019.
Shout out to Washington.
I don't know if any other states have done it since then. I assume probably. Because I've heard about this before.
Who gives a shit, right? Like, what's the difference at the end of the fucking day, right?
Yeah. And did you know the #1 song on the day you were born was Vogue by Madonna?
Fucking right. As it should be. Do you know me? Do you fucking know anything about me and tell me why it wouldn't have been Vogue by Madonna? I'm a classy bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm a sassy gal. You know what I mean? And when I get out there, like when I do my thing on the catwalk.
Yes,
right?
you do.
Like, I mean, so I'm out there strutting my stuff regardless of what's going on in my personal life, your personal life, Jesus's personal life. It doesn't matter because Johnny's out there making that shit work.
It's true.
So fucking obviously.
Yeah. Do you have, when you were a kid, was your birthday like a big deal to you?
To me, no, but to my mom, it still is. My mother called me today with the most adorable, like, hey, Johnny, you're my special little baby. And I might be 31 years old, but my mom's a little baby, right? I'm the youngest and stuff. And she's my dad. And she's taking care of my grandmother right now, who's going through some serious health bouts. And she hands the phone off to my grandmother. And my grandmother's like, you're working and you're a man on a job site. Happy birthday. She was so fucking to the point and awesome about it. And my mom was just like, you know, so it's like, yeah, it's adorable. And I love it. So, yeah.
Nice.
I'm my mama's little baby.
Nice.
What was the question?
If your birthday was a big deal to you.
So sorry. No, my birthday, like, it wasn't, it was cool because, like, I knew that I was going to get, like, a little party or whatever. Like, my friends were going to come over, we're going to eat some cake and shit like that. But, like, I didn't count down the days to it. Like, I did Christmas. Like, I think Christmas was a bigger one.
Yeah, I think, especially for kids, birthdays are bigger for the parents. Because even, like, when I look back, my birthday, like, it was definitely like a big deal as a kid, and I've always have like gotten into it because like I love attention.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
you're a
it's
festive
like the
person
day
too, right? Like,
that like
you like everything that goes around the celebration.
Yeah, and the day, there's one day when it's all about me. Like, that's the best day.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. I might just be saying that just to sound cool or something like that. Like,
I wish that I didn't feel that way, but I do. Like, I love it. But but I don't really remember a lot of my birthday parties as a kid. It's definitely, parents definitely get more into it. My parents were excited about your birthday today.
Your parents were very excited about my birthday today, which was rad. Shout out to Jules and shout out to Tim. They both sent me messages, basically both telling me to tell you to buy me booze.
which I was gonna do anyway.
Which you did, yeah. There's more liquor in my fridge I had to do with. But, no, but it was really cool. I think my mom just gets so into that kind of stuff that you can't. Yeah. I can't extinguish the stoke, right? Like when you fucking stoke extinguisher just coming through here and being a dick about it. I do love the attention. Mm-hmm. And all that, but I think I just dug like the party more. Yeah. Than anything, right? Like I think any opportunity to get like all my friends in the same place and to pick and choose. You know what I mean? Like kind of which ones could be there or whatever.
Being able to just be with who you want to be and
but we had these cool things too. Like McDonald's used to make pizza back in the day. You know what I'm
Fuck
saying?
Yes, I remember the day we found out that McDonald's, because we used to go. My aunt has a pool. Yeah. One of like our only growing up on the island. We had my aunt and uncle, and we had my grandpa and step grandma. My aunt and uncle had a pool, and so in the summer we'd go over there all the time with me and my brothers, and we'd always stop at McDonald's on the way, and I always got pizza. And I remember the day that my mom went in and came back and was like, they don't make pizza anymore. And I was like, well, why the fuck are we at McDonald's?
The pizza, I never remember the pizza being that great. Like it served its thing.
It was just the only thing that I liked at McDonald's, because I've never liked meat really.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
but I mean, like a cheese pizza from McDonald's was banging, right? Like it was really good, and they also had like a play zone kind of set up there, and then it went to like the Nintendo 64 area and stuff like that. So like before the PlayStations and Nintendos came into McDonald's, is just like the ball pit or whatever, right? So I remember having those birthday parties there. I was super stoked about. And then there was one that kind of comes to mind where it was at an aquatic center.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was like swimming and shit parties. Like that. Yeah, so the pool party that was really rad.
Yeah.
And on my 13th birthday, I had my leg was broken and a friend of mine gave me acid, and I think I've told that story on here. So like, there's been some pretty cool birthday experiences, but I think like after I turned 13, I was like not checking for punk rock anymore. And then the fucking Flatliners put out Destroy to Create in 2005, the same year the Lawrence Arms put out O Calcutta. Okay. And two of my favorite fucking albums. I'm of all time, basically. I was just like too cool for school or something, and not like just listening. Yeah. But maybe I was just bored with a genre of music that, you know, I just needed like 6 more months before it was just gonna kick a hole, stomp a mud hole in that ass, if you will. So that's pretty cool.
Well, getting back to the record then a little bit.
Can I pee?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it's my birthday.
Yeah, of course. Oh, Jesus Christ. We're back after a little cleanup.
Yeah, we are back. You know, you can grow older, but you can't really grow up. I feel like you can if you choose to. I'm a clumsy fella, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. Boo.
Well, that was the perfect mixture, because it was you being clumsy and like oblivious, and it was me seeing what was going to happen but not saying anything about it.
Watch me as I fall, Jackie. Yeah. Watch me as I fall. No, that's super cool. It was super cool that... no, I'm not even going to do that. Today is a day of joyous occasion. Yeah. I'm not going to turn on you for comedic effect.
No, I wasn't. I didn't think... looking back, I noticed it at the edge, but I didn't think, oh, that's going to fall. I should tell him to move it. Looking back, I'm like... I definitely noticed it on the edge. Why didn't I think that's going to fall? I should tell him to move it.
The viewers know.
Yeah.
Right? They'll see it all. They'll see it all play out. And I'm not a victim here.
No, the glass is the only victim.
I feel still like I should fake my own death.
Well,
just
I
to
don't
maybe
know
get
about
over
that.
the hump here.
Okay, yeah, just for like a little bit.
Yeah, and I could pop my head up like Florida Man, and like nobody cares.
Yeah, pop your head out of the mushroom suit.
Oh fuck, I'm so into the mushroom suit. I love that idea. Yeah. Sorry, but yeah,
okay,
let's keep it going.
Let's touch on this album briefly.
Let's get into it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, so like. It's called Destroy to Create, as we've said, and so I guess we wanted to talk a bit about this idea of sort of destroying a version of who you are to create a better version, or like sort of leaving something behind, even though like it's painful or whatever, you don't want to, but in order to be better, or even looking back at times in your life when you're going through it and it's really hard, but then you look back and you realize you had to do that in order to get better. And
that's why I committed all those crimes, Jackie.
Yeah. I feel like life is just like a constant process of doing that, but do you have like, I don't know, time, or do you think that you have to, in order to grow, you have to destroy like a version of who you once were?
I don't know if it's a version, but like in the reptilian sense of like shedding your skin to grow a little bit, then absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I did have to destroy a lot of stuff, like growing up in the area that I did and being kind of just like an attention whore. Mm-hmm. It didn't really matter where that attention was coming from, or whether what I was doing to get that attention was negative or positive and stuff, like, you know, so like thinking about a lot of that, and, you know, being like the loud kid in class or on the job site or wherever that was just saying like the most outlandish shit just to get like a rise out of somebody, and then deciding that, you know, to take like comedy seriously, and then to, you know, do your best to make a crack at it, then you're just, even in this in that sense of performance, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to have to shed from behind that was like easy to go to, and so you could like really grow as not somebody that's just like a funny person, but like grow as a comedian, and something that, you know, I look at every day, you know, to keep getting better and go. But just in the base lowest fucking form of it, I definitely did, because the area that I kind of came out, there was so much toxic bullshit that came with that I needed to realize that some of that is okay. You know what I mean? Some of that is kind of like necessary for like growth in the sense of like, I'm a trial by fire kind of person, unfortunately. Like I kind of like learned the hard way. Yeah. And hopefully that's going to change, like now with a little bit of you know, with a little bit of perspective, and I can kind of guide myself a little bit better. But yeah, there was a lot of times when I did some pretty outrageous shit. And then now where I'm looking at, like, it's like a doorway, right? Like that, it's a stupid fucking cliche, but, or maybe it's not even, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting when I heard it, like that 30s is like a doorway where you're kind of looking back at like the path of carnage that is behind me. And like, you know, there's beautiful points in there, and that's my life, right? So there's everything that happened made me into the person I am today. And so like, am I giving any of that up, you know, to continue on? Because now my only goal is just to like survive. You know what I mean? So anybody that had me in your like death pool this year, sorry. Like, I mean, we used to have that with a group of friends of mine or whatever, and I was a shoo-in for a few years, you know what I mean, to actually, you know, to be the one that goes. And like, it's a really morbid, fucked up thing that, you know, that we did for fun. But now that I'm looking at it, like it's paramount to like who I am, you know what I mean, and my sense of humor.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but yeah, in the short of it, to grow, you do have to, you know, or I did anyway. I mean, I think I'm going to turn the question on you, because like, do you have like a past that you had to, was there anything specifically in your past that you had to say, oh no, we're not doing that anymore, we're going to go into a better direction?
Yeah. There's a couple times. I mean, like way back in, when I was like a teenager, around like, I would say in middle school, like grade 7, 8, until probably university, I was mean. Like I was not, I was so.
You're a mean girl, Jackie?
Like I wouldn't say I was a mean girl, but could definitely be very mean spirited, because because I wanted attention, and because I didn't know. I mean, obviously everyone goes through shit, and I didn't know how to process anything at that point, and that's how I guess lashed out with things that were going on in my life, and so just to feel to feel like I had some sort of like power or control. And that's also like how I would
I've seen you just be a hard bitch.
Yeah, and I definitely still have that side to me. But then there was a certain point.
That's fair, but you've also seen me be a fucking dummy too, right? So I feel
and like obviously, that is sort of part of who I am. I can be a real asshole sometimes if I'm not checking myself, and if I'm not like if I'm not in my my routine. I do all these fucking things every day to be a fucking good person. I exercise, I meditate, I do yoga, all these things to just try and be centered. Try and be good and try and be the best version of myself. But sometimes that you don't, sometimes you're fucking at a job where I work 12 hours a day and I can't do those things. And then I sort of slip back into.
Oh, I could see. That during that job for you particularly, I could definitely see like when the slip happens, you're very conscious about what's happening, and you kind of like that the sea is kind of pulling you out there, and you can kind of sit into it, whereas my depression kind of hits me in the face a little bit, like where I'm like, why am I feeling like this all of a sudden? It's like, because you rage drank 15 beers last night, like you fucking animal, you might be sad about something, right? Where I'm not as like self-aware of that. Do you think that if that's hard, for you to see that you're going down?
No,
or is it easier for you to pull back up?
Well, I think it's better now, especially like over this last year. I mean, everyone's gone through shit this last year. In the world collectively, but in my life, obviously, there's been a lot of change, and so I have felt that this year too, where I've just, and I've like been doing it for a while, but to a greater extent these last few months, where I'm so into being mindful and being aware of when the tide is turning and know when it's happening. And so even when sometimes I'll snap and like I'll just be an asshole for like even just like a second. Like when
somebody we were in class at film school, and somebody brought up disparaging comments towards one Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I got very defensive.
We love Adam Sandler on this show.
I idolize Adam Sandler. If you know anything about comedy, then you know Adam Sandler's a fucking genius. And if like you do your due diligence and you don't just watch the fucking Jack and Jill, like that's not fucking Adam Sandler. That's what he gets paid to do. If you know anything about what you're talking about and you're talking about fucking Adam Sandler, then you know he's a fucking comedy god. He's a genius and he's a fantastic fucking person. And so if people... It's a sore spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't even fucking touch the tip of the iceberg for the heat that this poor individual suffered
in the middle of class.
Yeah, it was, but you don't.
But in my defense, it was comedy class, and I clearly knew what I was talking about, and this person did not.
That's true.
And my delivery was not good. But like it needed to be said because I was right.
Yes, but it was cool for me as a friend to see that, because like that was just kind of when like our friendship was sparking, and I knew immediately that I was like, if Jackie has your back, this bitch is gonna ride or die. Like it doesn't matter who's saying what at what time of the, like you derailed an entire fucking class for 15 minutes to tell this individual to go fuck themselves. And it's still just a point of like great joy for me in my life. It's just a great memory that I have. But it's fucked up because I sit there and I think about how you felt during that whole thing, and it was rage.
Yeah,
like your face was red. There's fire coming out of your fucking eyes.
Well,
just because somebody said so silly, just as somebody did something so silly as to critique maybe the last 7 or 8 Adam Sandler films, which haven't been that great.
But it wasn't the critique of they turned it into the critique of him as a whole. They were just saying Adam Sandler isn't funny, was basically the point.
Yeah, as if like you've never listened to Stan and Judy's Kid, or as if they're all going to laugh
as if you've never seen him on SNL. Like this guy is his latest stand-up special. But I do get those, and it was funny, my dad and my younger brother, used to always joke that I get rage blackouts because that is sort of how it feels because in the moment I'll just, I'll say all this shit, but then as soon as it's over, I feel so bad about it. And even that time, like I waited after class to apologize to this person and stuff. Like I felt so bad.
Sometimes you blow that load and you come back to your senses and you're like, why am I on a rooftop right now? Like, what are all these dead bodies doing here?
Yeah.
I get it. And I love it. I don't know. It's cool for me to see.
Yeah. But to answer your initial question, I do think it's better. For me, it's better to be sort of aware of when that's sort of turning, and I think I'm getting better at catching it before I go off.
Yeah.
Or I can feel it building up inside of me, and then I sort of have these tools to sort of calm myself down, put it into perspective, realize that I'm creating this story in my head, that I'm reacting to my own perception of what is happening. I'm not reacting to the situation. I'm reacting to what's going on up here. And so,
it's usually pretty aggressive. Fuck you. Which is great because I could take a few deep breaths and stuff like that. Like I'm the tall guy that has a big mouth at the bar for a lot of times, so I have to talk my way out of getting the shit kicked out of me all the time. Right, so I'm always at not all the time anymore, obviously, but there was a long time that. Oh, this guy's not getting the jokes, and then to the point where, this might actually, ruin my fucking night here because some dork over here just can't have a laugh with the rest of us. But, so I'm constantly doing damage control to kind of avoid that thing, and I don't know if it's just there's something there. Maybe like I'm like over 6 foot tall and a man, so like I'm gonna get punched in the face at this point.
Yeah.
Here, where you were, I don't know. Maybe do you think there's something that, or is it just rage, uncontrollable for anybody that's kind of speaking anything adversarial about something that you love and that you hold dear, right? Because you wouldn't go to bat for Hitler like that, right? But like you would go to bat for somebody that, you know what I mean, that
for Adam Sandler.
For Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah, I really don't know what it is because it's just certain things, I guess, just set me off, and it's like I'm not really I don't start fights, like that's not who I am, but then sometimes when I feel like I need to say something, I can't not.
Yeah, then
say
fuck them. That's the thing. Like what we're learning on this show is Jackie's more punk rock than Jonny.
But then,
cool.
and like that shit is like, I mean, that like incidents like that, it's like I feel bad because I don't want to make people feel shitty, and I don't want to be a bitch, and like I don't like making people feel bad, and so that sucks. But then
when they're being shitty, it gotta feel good.
In the moment, it feels real good. Especially when I know I'm right, which is always.
I go to you for my news.
Yeah, but then like so that's one thing. But then the reason why I try so hard, especially lately, I'm trying so hard to get a hold on that side of myself is because more often than not, I'll snap on people who like I love and who I care about, even if it's just like a second. I'll like, say something, even just the tone of my voice, and then immediately be like, why the fuck? Like that's the shit that I feel really bad about, and that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be that person to the people that I care about, because that's not what I don't mean what I'm saying when I'm saying it in those moments,
Well, no, you fucking do, but it's the delivery, right?
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Like the content can be perfect, but the delivery, could have used a little like sugar. But at the same time too, like it's not up to you to, spoon feed everybody something or like lay a pillow down, when somebody's about to hit their ass on the floor, because. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people got to learn too, right? I do love that I get to see you go off, and it's always over like things like, discussing the merits of Adam Sandler's comedy, which is cool. Like I dig my feet in the dirt for the things that I care about, and I can see that you do too, right? I think there's something cool. There's something cool there. So like keep yelling at dummies.
Well, yeah, I'll keep yelling at dummies. I just don't want to be a bitch to like you or like anyone.
Oh, we're cool.
else.
I'm
you know,
fucking
anyone
super
else
big
that
fan
I
of
love.
Adam Sandler. I watched Happy
Well,
Gilmore
yeah,
like a couple weeks ago.
It
was awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I don't know if that necessarily I don't know if I would say destroying a past version of myself, but definitely trying to change.
Yeah, being conscious of the growth and stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because that energy has to go somewhere. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it to not come out and
you got to do what I do
yeah.
and go to a Flatliners show, scream your fucking lungs out to like lightning fast lyrics that you only know half of. Let's get serious, right?
Yeah.
But then you could be like Cobalt and some kid be having way too much fun. He swings his head back and like my nose breaks and I go into like the bathroom and it's like bleeding profusely and I don't know how to stop it. So I just like fire like 2 snot rockets into the sink of the bar and it stopped bleeding. Wow. And I was like, wow, that was crazy. And then I'm like about to walk out back into the pit and there's a dude in the bathroom there that's like, what the fuck? And I went, huh? And I just looked and I was like, oh yeah, I'm covered in blood. Like,
oh my God.
Totally not cool. Sometimes I just get too into it. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
I'm not going to say I broke my nose, but like it hurts when I touch it still.
Yeah.
And that was like 3 years ago. This happened. Like,
it doesn't look.
oh no, my
broken
shit
or
is cool.
anything
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
my shit's straight. So I'm not, it's whatever. But yeah, I don't know that need for you to blow off that steam. I think like you could find at a punk rock show. It's the Garden State like screaming into the void scene or whatever. You know, there's something that's like really.
And I think it's probably also, I mean, especially like this last year, it's been hard to sort of blow off steam because there's so much to do. And like I've definitely like ever since my parents fucking lied about my age when I was like 2 to get me into swimming lessons because they were like, this bitch needs to fucking get this energy out.
Sure.
And so from age 2,
let's throw her in a body of water.
Yeah. And then there's my dad has I should get him to find this for you because it's hilarious. My dad has this footage of me in a swimming lesson when I was like 2 or whatever, and the video starts and it's like my swimming class and they're all, you know, in a group learning how to tread water and all that stuff. And then my dad slowly pans over and there's me with the pool noodles pretending to be a fucking elephant blowing water out
dude,
of the
hell
noodle
yeah.
at
Like the beginning of the
everyone.
Lion King when they like pan it through. Like, fuck yeah.
But from like age 2 until like 18, I was doing tons of shit whenever I wasn't at school.
Mostly blowing water through a pool noodle?
Yeah, well, whenever I wasn't at school, I was doing some sort of physical activity because I always had like so much energy I need to get out. My parents could not stand being around me if I did not do some
well,
sort
I would
of
say that
physical
you're like
activity.
half artist, half athlete. You know what I mean? Like in that sense, that's pretty fucking cool. Did you like? You live next to the fucking ocean, so you just never went to swim like in the ocean?
Oh yeah, we swim in the ocean all the time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I grew up swimming in the river, so it was like undertows and currents and stuff like that. They were kind of gnarly, but I can't remember if my parents were ever like, you know, push me out to, you know, to specifically drain off the energy.
Yeah.
Rather than this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, get off the fucking Nintendo and go play basketball. You're 6 feet tall.
It like truly wasn't an option for me to not do these. Like I could, like they would not allow it. And I mean, I'm sure if I like really they probably would have, but like it wasn't. In what I felt at that age is that it was not an option for me not to, you know, be in swimming and skating and 3 types of dance and field hockey and all of these things. It was not an option not to do it.
Yeah, and selling crack.
It's
pretty fucking wild.
I mean, you gotta make a healthy buck.
Well, at the same
what
time,
else is going to pay for all of these?
Right? How
these
you I mean 3 different kinds of dance. That's 3 different kinds of Nikes, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah,
I mean, the shit adds up.
It does. It
right? Which
does.
is pretty incredible that you've managed to like sustain, you know, such a healthy appetite for sport and a drug empire.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
it's all about balance. Life is about the balance. And
that's what they
say. Yeah. I still have my drug empire, you know, but the sports have fallen off the rails a little bit, but you have to choose a lane at some point. and I'm good at what I do.
As a drug user, I'm glad you chose that lane. You know what I mean, right? Like, I mean, we're friends and stuff like that, but like, had you been like running track the whole time, I'm probably gonna say that we might not be as good of friends.
Right.
Had you not been selling crack this whole time.
Right.
Right. So just another shout out to friendship.
Yeah.
I think.
And crack.
Well, mostly crack. This show is basically about our love for crack cocaine.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, because I think now, like, I still exercise a lot, but it's not like I'm doing like all of these different sports and shit. But, and I think where that energy went was comedy and stand up. And so I think when things like shut down for real in November here was when, and that sort of coincided when a lot of shit was happening in my life, and so that's when I really started to
we
lose
both
my
had
mind.
some gnarly spirals during that
Yeah.
during that time.
Yeah.
Maybe if
and we will see on Tuesday, at the day after this is posted, there's an announcement for the reopening plan for
fuck
BC.
off, really?
So we'll see.
Shit. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold my tongue until Tuesday.
So we'll see. Hopefully.
Very cool.
Yeah. But Montreal is going to be reopened when we're there. So that's very exciting. I'm so happy about that. Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and presumably travel will be all good to go too. We'll both have our first dose. I'm getting my first dose the day this comes out. I'm getting my first dose of the vaccine.
Fuck yeah.
I'm so excited.
Nice. No, I'm getting mine on the 1st. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to make any Bill Gates jokes.
Yeah,
except for I want to get my vaccine and I'm going to be like I don't know. It needs to go somewhere that like Bill Gates is just trying to get pussy on the side. And like as a billionaire.
Yeah.
It depends on his relationship with his wife, right?
Yeah.
Because like as soon as Melinda has started like talking, the world doesn't like Bill Gates as it is right now, you know, which seems
It's
kind of
weird
interesting.
because he has his like public opinion has definitely taken a dip on him the last few months, whereas before I think it was the one billionaire that people liked.
Yes, but I mean, like all good things, it must come to an end.
Nothing
because
gold can
Melinda
stay.
Gates is sitting at the fucking
Pony boy.
desk of CNN going, I will fucking send you pictures. It's like Epstein and all this crazy shit or whatever, which is like, duh. Like if you, I don't know, how smart do you have to be or how rich do you have to be until we forget that you're like a human being, like a man? Like Tiger Woods doesn't like to fuck? Are you going to tell me that one of the greatest athletes in that field of all time doesn't like to bang out waitresses at a TGI Fridays? Are you telling me that Bill Gates, the richest man on earth, doesn't have like an attractive young woman working at Microsoft that he's trying to like, you know, have sex with to like, you know, use? I'm saying that it doesn't surprise me. I'm not saying that it's right. Yeah. But I'm saying that like this revelation isn't fucking anything to me that is
it's not surprising.
That is out of the ordinary.
But I guess he was sort of branded as like this nice, like nerdy guy. That's sort of like, and especially like he had
Bill Gates. The only thing you only think that Bill Gates is a nice guy is because the Gates have been chained up, and you don't know what the fuck is going on behind that thing. Because no, I guarantee.
Well, there was that Netflix. There was that Netflix documentary series, but as I'm saying it, the only thing that I remember about this series was that we watched it when I was in the UK with visiting my brother and his girlfriend, and me and Kelly got in a big fight for the whole documentary, and Gwyn and their roommate just had to listen to me and my brother arguing for the whole documentary. So I remember like the first like 10 minutes of it, and I got a good impression of Bill Gates from it.
Oh, you weren't arguing about Bill Gates during this argument?
We were arguing about, it started, I forget, we were talking about like conspiracy theories and flat earthers, and then like
good
anti-vaxxers.
Oh,
and like
even better people.
That was like I'm not going to go into the minutia of it, but I will say it ended with Kelly admitting I was right.
As they should.
So That's the point of the story.
Sometimes it's easier just to concede. Let her get a win, because you're not going to fucking hear the end of this.
But yeah, as I started talking about that, I realized that I only watched like the first 10 minutes of that documentary before we started fighting.
Oh, good stuff. See, I don't fucking know one way or the other. I'm just not surprised by the world that I live in. Like, ever. Do you know what I mean? Like, the shit that I've done, you know what I mean, that has hurt other people is, like, pretty shitty.
Yeah.
You know, thankfully I've grown as a person, and I feel like I've gotten, you know, enough forgiveness as I'm worth or whatever, right? But, you know, like, oh, let's not go down that road again. You know, so I know what I'm capable of with, like overdraft on my bank account. You know what I mean? So, like, if I'm capable of some pretty gnarly shit with less than $0,
yeah,
it's not going to surprise me.
Yeah.
That anybody with any amount above zero is going to do some wilder shit. And if it's as soon as you get into the billions there or whatever, then like you can just assume that like one Friday that I had that might be a little bit questionable that I might not want to speak about. Like everybody has that.
Yeah.
Imagine what the $1 billion scale of that night is.
Well,
right? I imagine it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah. And sort of circling it back to
Can we circle back and land this plane?
To the album. I guess if in that sense, if you just grow and you know, grow as a person, you move on with your life and you try to be better and do better. But if you don't in some way completely destroy or get rid of that version of who you are, there's perhaps always a risk of going back if you don't completely.
I don't think there's any way that you could completely destroy who you were as a person. Like, it informs every decision that you make as you go further, right? So, like, is that young, you know, Argentinian coal miner that was a child of Johnny DeVito? Like, can we take that young Argentinian coal miner and you know and turn him into the man that you see today? You absolutely could. But if I walk by, you know, a shovel in Argentina, if you think that I'm not going to mine some fucking coal, then you got another thing coming, because that's just like where I'm from. And in some sense, blood. You know, you know, you can take the kid out of trail, but you can't take the trail out of the kid, right? You know, I'm from a small town called Trail. Fucking, you know, that goes for anybody living in any geographical location. But the thing is that it's like life is about like constant growth and all that bullshit, right? So when I just want to party and relax, you need to be conscious of where you're at in that environment and where that environment has taken you before. Yeah. And I don't want to wake up butt naked on the floor again. Yeah. Tonight. You know what I mean? Or tomorrow morning or whatever, right? Like, so you need to know that, like, oh, wait a minute, like, it's, if you destroy that person completely, then in theory you wouldn't be able to remember the lessons that you learned to become the person that you are today. Yeah. So I think, like, it's all very, it's all encompassing and shit. And I think if you're trying to run away from anything in the past, then, like, when it does come back, it'll come back like tenfold. At least that's my fear anyway. Yeah. And I think everything you do informs the person that you are and the person that you grow up to be. And like it's impossible to really destroy who you were, but the only thing that's gonna cause you to go back to that is yourself, and the only thing that's gonna stop you from going back to that is yourself. God willing. So, I don't know. Myself's a fucking moron too. But like, he's getting better. Yeah. And I think that's there's a line in one of the songs that just says like life equals pain. Yeah. Which I don't know. Because like growing is sort of painful. No, I just think in general too. Like I definitely subscribe to that. I like if we're gonna leave on a lyric, I would do like the hidden song at the end of this is what the hell happened to you. When I think about that, I think like when I sing that song in my head, it's a version of like it's me singing it to another version of me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? What the hell happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Yeah, it's, you need to be conscious of that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the past failure, so you don't fucking drown again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how we learn how to swim.
Totally.
And this fucking record helped me learn how to swim.
Yeah.
Swim back
Well-
from a deep and dark.
Yeah. Well, I think you are a beautiful person, and I'm so grateful for you. And happy birthday.
Jackie, you've made my heart sing today. In a quarantine lockdown, the second birthday that I've spent in lockdown. This has been easily like one of the best ones. Check out Johnny Stump Tongue and the Mumblers. It's one of the coolest birthday presents I've ever been given in my life. Yeah, no, just thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to the tunes and shit like that. And you know, it's my birthday, so we're gonna get fucked up. And for anybody that maybe this episode might have lulled a little bit, fuck you. Come and party afterwards because thank you so much, Jackie. I love you, and
I love you too.
we're gonna hang out. Okay.
Okay.
Let's get the fuck.